This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Burgamy.
Hey there, come on in, welcome. Our home is your home. Your #1 source for everything and anything related to Georgia agriculture. This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. I'm Ray DeLessio, and yes, while my co-host Kenny Burgamy is off this week, he will still have a presence in the show. Coming up, Kenny reports on how this Florida family packed their bags and headed here to Georgia to start a vineyard. And boy, did that move ever pay off. Great story you do not want to miss. Plus, if you're tired of those same old holiday recipes, we've got the perfect solution in this month's Meals from the Field. All this and more starting right now on the Georgia Farm Monitor. With its sandy soil and subtropical climate, coastal Georgia provides an ideal spot to grow a crop not often seen here in the United States. Recently, Damon Jones traveled to Lebanon Plantation in Savannah, where they're producing ginger used in products that caught the eye of one of the most influential people in the world.
The word unique is often used when talking about the historic city of Savannah, and now it can also be used to describe the area's agriculture, as one farmer has decided to try his hand at growing a crop that is almost exclusively produced in other countries.
It just struck me how similar it was to where I grew up. And being a partner with Howard and having the farm available to us, one day we sat down and we thought about things that we could grow that would be delicious and healthful and could grow here. And ginger kept coming up on the top of that list.
And with the United States importing nearly 40,000 tons of ginger every year, it only made sense to try and grow it domestically. However, the idea did take a little getting used to.
Well, when Mr. Marcia invited me out here to see his operation, I said, well, that's kind of odd to have ginger in South Georgia. And when I came out, they were really small. It wasn't much taller than this. And they've grown into large 5-6 foot plants now, but it was just very odd to know that ginger would be grown in our coastal area here in Georgia.
With this one-of-a-kind operation, agriculture is now becoming more of a focus in a city best known for its urban attractions. And it might just be the beginning.
Chatham County is not agricultural as much anymore as it used to be in the days gone by. But I think this is something that could possibly take off. We've already had some interest here this morning from some folks that are visiting here today. So I think it could be good for this area.
However, growing the crop is anything but easy. Not only does it take plenty of time and research to choose the right varieties, but also a lot of hard work once harvesting season rolls around.
There's a lot of weed pressure, as there are with all organic crops. There's also a lot of pressure from disease. It's very labor intensive to harvest and wash and clean this product. So it is a difficult and labor intensive product, which is one of the reasons we add value to the product by turning it into value-added products, not just selling the root.
And those products have received national attention thanks to none other than Oprah Winfrey, who recently featured Verdant Kitchen's ginger-infused honey and ginger syrup in her list of favorite things for 2015.
A friend of a friend met some people from the O magazine. They were intrigued that these healthful products were being grown in the south of the U.S. They asked for some samples. They loved them. And then we had an opportunity to submit the products for the list. And so this has gone on for a couple of months.
That exposure has obviously created a huge boost for the business, as they are now featured on a number of different websites and magazines. However, Harding says the key for Verdant Kitchen is to build on their success.
This year they released it with a marketing campaign with Amazon. It was on the front page of Amazon. They did it with People magazine. And so you would imagine that's a lot of eyeballs and a lot of mouse clicks that can happen. And so the challenge is not just that 15 minutes of fame. I mean, what the challenge for a small business is how do you sustain that?
And that doesn't appear to be a problem, as new products using the ginger grown right here in Savannah are constantly being produced and tested.
Yeah, I mean, my team tried to keep me out of the test kitchen because we now have 20-something products, and I have about another 40 in my list of things that I would like to do, and it's a matter of doing each well.
Reporting from Savannah, I'm Damon Jones for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
All right, thank you very much, Damon. Well, moving on now, as we all know, the leaves are falling, and for some, gathering those leaves and other yard debris can be a full-time job. However, one way to get rid of it all is to burn it, but it must be done legally and safely. Mark Wildman reports.
Anyone who has ever had to maintain property knows dealing with leaves and other yard debris can be very challenging and time-consuming. One good way of dealing with yard waste is to simply pile it up and burn it, but landowners need to follow the proper steps for a safe backyard burn.
When you're burning, the first thing you need to do is go ahead and get a burn permit. For leaf and limb piles, all you have to do is call 1-877-652-2876 or 1-877-OK to burn. That's an automated burn permit system and give individuals, homeowners, permission to burn leaf and limb piles.
During the hot, dry months in Georgia, residents are not permitted to burn, but as the weather cools off and conditions are favorable, officials encourage the public to use fire properly.
It's something that we are allowed to do in the state of Georgia. It's a benefit to the people of the state of Georgia to do, whereas some states do not allow burning at all. We are privileged in the state of Georgia to be able to do burning in our own yards.
Even though fire is a great tool, it is important to know what citizens are legally allowed to burn.
You are allowed in the state of Georgia to burn vegetative materials only, leaves, limbs, grass clippings, stuff that you pick up in your yard. You're not allowed to burn anything that's been man-made, processed, altered in any shape, fashion, or form, meaning even a 2x4. It may only be a limb, but since it's been processed, it's considered a manufactured product and is not allowed to be burned. When they're doing their burn, they need to have some means of control of the fire, meaning they need to have a rake, shovel, water supply, something out there to control the fire and to put the fire out when they're ready to leave. A landowner should always stay with the fire and not leave the fire unattended. That tends to be when we have a lot of fires escape, is when the landowners have stepped inside away from their fire. Oh, I'll only be there just a minute. I'm just going to go get me something to drink. Wind comes up, blows the fire. They're not there to control it.
The Georgia Forestry Commission spends a number of hours educating the public, but they are also ready to deploy resources if the fire gets out of control. Here at the Georgia Forestry Commission's headquarters in Macon, a command center is manned to handle permit requests and to help first responders fight forest fires.
Generally, when your fire escapes, we ask that the caller contact 911 first, and at that point, the 911 center will give us a call, and we dispatch the appropriate resource for your county.
This facility monitors daily aircraft patrols, and its staff plays a very important role in keeping Georgians safe.
We allow the units to be in the field to work during the day so we can take all their calls for them. And we also are able to monitor where all the resources are at one time throughout the day.
So as the leaves keep falling, don't be afraid to burn them. But remember, get a permit and follow all of the proper steps to keep you and your neighbors safe. For the Georgia Farm Monitor, I'm Mark Wildman.
Mark, thank you, sir. All right, if you're a Scrooge, then just turn the channel, because coming up, we're talking recipes for the Christmas holiday. That's right. Meals from the Field, Christmas edition, when the Georgia Farm Monitor continues.
Hi, I'm Kyle Deagle from Habersham County, representing Habersham County Farm Bureau. I'm an ag teacher here at Habersham Central High School, where I teach everything from ag mechanics to animal science, with emerging technologies in crop and soil science, engineering, and certain other sectors of agriculture. I think it's vitally important that our students understand that and are prepped for that going into the workforce. You know, agriculture has been great to me and my family, as well as our students here at the high school and our community, really. Agriculture is the #1 industry in our state, and we feel like that's worth telling people about. I think it's a great honor to win that. You know, I worked at it for a few years, and I certainly don't ever want to make it about myself. I feel very fortunate and blessed to have won that contest, but I think it's more about getting with like-minded people and discussing agriculture. As far as it being a competition, it's great. They have some great prizes and they have some great sponsors, but I really, really enjoy going back year after year. I'm going to miss it, actually, getting to go back and talk with friends about agriculture and their experiences from year to year. You know, it's very challenging questions, And I think they deserve some research and some response because they're coming from the national office, from researchers that, understand and have their hand in ag issues that are going on. And so it's something that we really need to take seriously. We started going during the summer conference, I guess about 5 years ago. And from that time, I know it's more than doubled the attendance as well as the contestants in the discussion meet. It's become a huge thing. And I think it's very important that that continues to happen because I think you wind up getting people from all parts of the state that are coming up in today's agriculture sector and society that are able to give their input and what they're seeing on their farm and their area of the state.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your... Is it too early to start singing that yet?
Don't quit your day job.
Hey, welcome back everybody to the Georgia Farm Monitor and to another edition of Meals from the Field. Joining me as always, my biggest critic, Marcia Crowley, also our senior home economist, and I'm not going to quit my day job.
Don't quit.
Is it too early to start singing holiday songs?
I don't think so.
No. Believe it or not, though, yes, we are talking Christmas and holiday recipes, if you can believe that. Seems like just yesterday we were doing Christmas recipes.
It really does.
But anyway, what do we got today, Marcia? Good to see you again, by the way.
Good to see you. These are some of my favorite Christmas party things, okay? This first thing is a pecan cheese ring. This is 4 cups of shredded cheese, 2 cups of sharp, 2 cups of mild cheddar. We're going to add to that a 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. Let me just get this out of the way. A little bit of cayenne pepper. And this is something I like. You can do it ahead of time, a couple of days. 1/4 cup of grated onion, and I just used a box grater to grate that with, if anybody's wondering.
Vidalia onions?
Vidalia onions. And a little bit of pecans.
All right.
The rest are going to go in the bottom of this pan. All right, I'm going to mix this up. And like I said, this is something you can do ahead of time. It's great for church parties. It's great for parties.
Right.
You can double the recipe if you have more than about 10 people.
And I know I've said this before because I'm a victim of this. I do it myself. Don't use the low-fat cheese or the fat-free cheese.
Don't do that.
It doesn't have the viscosity. That's my word for the day.
No, it tastes like...
And yeah, it tastes like rubber.
Caulk or something.
Exactly.
I don't know.
So go with the real cheese.
Go with the real cheese, and really, in a perfect world, if you would grate the cheese fresh off the block, it's better than out of the bag. But out of the bag works too. All right, we're going to pretend that that is mixed up really good.
Right.
All right, to make the ring, I have lined. This is a 7-inch pie plate, but you can use a cake pan, but you can use a bigger one. Line that with plastic wrap.
I was actually about to take the plastic wrap off to put it in. I thought it was just protected.
Well, that's so when you take it out, it comes right off. And this is just a small dish that I've wrapped as well.
Okay.
And you are going to put this in there and mash it down so that it makes a ring. And we're not going to go through all the motions of this, but you get the idea.
Would you like me to do that while you get the other stuff ready?
Yes, why don't you do that? There you go.
Save you a little time and energy there.
Okay, the next thing, these are mini cheeseburger sliders, and this is my father-in-law's recipe. It's been in the Crowley family for probably 50 years. We do it one time a year at Christmas.
Then why are you telling us your secret recipe?
Because I love y'all. I like to share recipes.
Well, we love you too.
This is 1.5 pounds of ground beef, about 1/4 cup of grated onion again. So if you were doing both of them, you could grate the onion all at the same time. A little bit of Worcestershire sauce, and garlic and salt and pepper. Whoops. You're going to mix all this up together, and you're going to put it in a cookie sheet with a lip on it and make it as flat as you possibly can. And then you're going to bake it. So you're making one big square burger is what you're doing. Okay. All right, you're going to bake that, and by the magic of television, we already have one baked. And these rolls are called dinner rolls. And this is what they look like. I'm not promoting any certain brand, but these are
You just picked up a brand.
these are really hard to find at Christmas. So if you see them,
Pick them up now.
pick them up now, because I went to 2 stores yesterday to find
Okay.
them. Okay, so this
Not
is
the
our
Hawaiian rolls, but this one, because some people
Those
might
rolls.
try to substitute
Right.
the Hawaiian rolls.
Okay, and this is the cooked meat,
Mm-hmm.
and you slice these rolls in half this way.
Okay.
Okay, so there's your meat. You put the meat down on the bottom half, then you put your cheddar cheese or American cheese on there.
Slices instead of
Slices, or you could do cheddar.
Okay.
I mean, shredded.
shredded.
All right, you're going to put that on there. Then you're going to do pickles. And these, you can see the finished product, but they're so little, they're like bite size.
Right.
And like I said, these are the first things gone at our Christmas party. I can make 200 of them, and they'll
they're
be
gone.
gone in like 2 minutes. People hang out there. All right, then you're going to put the other half of these rolls. If I can get this over there without tearing them apart. You're going to gently put these on top. Just kind of match it up. Of course, we lost one there. You're going to put foil over it and put it back in the oven for about 10 minutes. What you're doing is you're melting the cheese with foil.
It's only
And when
10 minutes.
About 10 minutes,
Right.
because the meat's cooked, you're just melting the cheese.
All right,
and when they come out, you're going to use a pizza cutter to slice them.
And that's the finished product there. That's what they look like.
And they are so good, I promise. And you can add mustard to the bottom if you like, or ketchup, or a little bit of mayonnaise, or nothing. They don't really need anything.
Right.
And you could put ketchup and mustard on the side to dip in if you want.
Now, I apologize. I want you to look at my,
That's not bad.
not exactly the best mash down job, whatever
But
you
at
want
least
to call
you
it.
get the idea.
But here's the finished product and what it's supposed to look like.
And you serve this with strawberry preserves in the
wow.
center. You put this in the fridge, okay? And if this was a perfect world, see, you would have your little
Not bad.
your little ring there. You didn't do bad.
Okay.
Take that out and put strawberry preserves in the center.
All right.
And serve it with crackers. And then we're not going to demonstrate this today, but it will be, I'll send it to you, pecan cheese bars.
Okay.
No, not pecan cheese, pecan pie bars.
Ooh.
They are so good. They're not too sweet. You make a crust on the bottom
Right.
and put like a pecan pie filling on the top.
And that'll
delicious.
That'll be up on our website, that recipe as well as these recipes. Don't forget, you can find those by logging on to gfb.org/recipes. Everything is there for you. Again, little mini hamburgers. We got the cheese.
The pecan cheese
the
ring.
pecan cheese ring. Some great holiday recipes. So happy Christmas to everybody, or Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy holidays to all. If I don't see you before Christmas, Merry Christmas
Merry
to you.
Christmas.
And folks, we'll see you.
It's been well stated that American Farm Bureau is committed to helping rural communities thrive. That's why at the 2015 AFBF convention in San Diego, officials introduced the Rural Entrepreneurship Challenge, the first national business competition focused exclusively on rural entrepreneurs working on food and agricultural businesses. Earlier this year, 10 candidates were chosen to compete for a trip to the upcoming convention in Orlando. And although none of the Georgia companies who entered this year's competition made the finals, the Monitor still wanted to highlight their many accomplishments.
Hey everybody, my name is Christy Wilkins. This is my son Dustin Fincher and my son Dalton Fincher, and we are Run to the Farm. I used to work for the corporate world for about 15 years, and I drove like crazy 5 hours every day on the road, always gone. And after we had our little girl, I was blessed to be able to stay home with our kids and help out on the farm. And I always told my husband, one day I'm going to replace our income by doing something from home. Well, we were just blogging about farm life and our cows and kids and stuff like that. And we had some friends say, well, why don't you do t-shirts? So we started off with Run to the Farm t-shirts and hats, different things like that. At the same time of farming and doing our cows, my son wanted to be a beekeeper. So we started beekeeping. Producing lots of honey. Dalton would sell the honey to friends and family and people in town, and all that went really well. And one day I started playing with the honey. I was like, I can make some sugar scrubs, and I could do honey in my hair and face mask and different fun stuff like that. So of course it was in the shower, and I noticed all my sugar scrub was gone. And I took it back into the kitchen to make some more. Well, later one night, my husband comes in, and he's hollering, "Hey, come here." And I just knew he was gonna ask, like, bring me a towel or something. But to my surprise, he asked, "Where did that jar of that stuff go that was in the shower?" I was like, "Oh my goodness, you're the one using this." And he says, "Yes, it cleans my hands so well, and my hands feel really nice, you know, afterwards." And I thought, this is crazy. He is not into anything like this, and if my husband loves it, the world would love it.
When I was 9, I wanted to start beekeeping because I just loved bees, and they were cool because they flew around and they collected nectar and made honey. I wondered how it was made, so I became a beekeeper.
Our whole family is creative with coming up with things like living off the land, living off the grid. I like to call our family our little frontier. I'm making necklaces, my brother's beehive, my mom's coming up with all sorts of different cool stuff like skincare and stuff. It's just really what we do, and I'm glad that I come from a creative family. I feel like my mom has really rubbed off on me a little bit because I'm always coming up with some cool ideas, and it's all up there.
Once again, that is the American Farm Bureau's Rural Entrepreneur Initiative and Challenge. More stories featuring Georgia companies in the weeks ahead. Now, for more information on this program, log on to the address you see there. That's strongruralamerica.com. Finally today, we bring you the story of a family from Florida who made the decision a few years ago to move to North Georgia and start a vineyard. And as Kenny Burgamy reports, the business has taken off and proves once again that location is everything.
If you were to take a detour off the old Georgia Federal Highway outside of Ellijay, near the community of Talking Rock, you'll find some of Georgia's most beautiful scenery. And you'll discover Justin McNeil and his family owned the business. They started a vineyard and winery, and Justin said the last year has been a huge success.
So Chateau Maitre is named after my great-grandfather. His name was Stefan Maitre, and he was a grape growing winemaker in Switzerland. Came over to the United States in 1921, came through Ellis Island and got a job in New York and moved on, but always continued to make his own wines from his vines, just the 3 vines that he had in his backyard. So it was still a big part of him, and my mom growing up on Long Island would go visit him on weekends, and it was always something to do with, you know, his wines or his vines, and so she's always had that bug. So later on in life, to the point where they were not willing to retire, but wanted to kind of shift focus, and so we decided to start that, and this has been about a 10-year project for us now.
The addition of a tasting room has been a big hit. Justin said weekends keep them plenty busy, especially during the fall tourist season in the mountains.
It's pretty much all word of mouth. You know, we try and do a great job here. You know, offer people great hospitality and great wines, and that's kind of how the word gets out. You know, you depend on people having a great time here, and they want to go tell their friends and bring their friends back, and so that's how we've been able to expand. So.
As far as what you'll find growing in the rich soil of Gilmer County, and just an example of what you can sample in the tasting room.
So we have 3 varietals right now. We have a Seyval Blanc, which is a French-American hybrid, Norton, which is indigenous, and Noiret, which is another French-American hybrid developed by Cornell University, more with the East Coast growing more in mind on that one.
And it's worth the drive just to take in the beautiful views.
Yeah, so this is actually Rich Mountain Wilderness over here behind us, and that is part of a WMA land, and so we're hoping that it'll stay like that forever. And then we're actually located here in Pleasant Valley. It's you know, you see this range here, but behind us here, we actually had a good neighbor of ours take a picture from the top peak over there, and you really get a good idea of where we sit, you know, and it truly is in the valley there.
In Gilmer County, I'm Kenny Burgamy for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Kenny, great job, sir. Unfortunately, we are out of time. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor. Have a great week, everybody.